Developing tonight, monsoon storms hitting Arizona, bringing heavy rain and a blinding dust cloud, leading to widespread problems all across the Phoenix area. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. We are seeing some impressive images coming out of the Phoenix area tonight. The scattered storm started moving through the valley at around 5 o'clock tonight. And here is a live look at the downtown area in Phoenix tonight. You can tell from this shot that things have really calmed down. The conditions have improved over the last 30 minutes or so, but the severe weather is not over yet. Tonight's storms caused delayed flights at Phoenix's Sky Harbor Airport for a time. Drivers were being warned about significantly reduced visibility on the roads. First responders want drivers to pull over and wait if they do see a dust cloud rolling in their direction. That's exactly what one reporter and photographer did just before 6 o'clock tonight.
This is the best it has looked the entire time we've been out here. If you can imagine that it's still, not great visibility in the distance, but we can see quite a bit right now. But one thing that I'm going to try and take our shot here so that I can move it and go here we go, handheld, because I want to show you over here. I'm going to show you some of what the aftermath looks like as far as, look at this. We've got some flooding that started here over on the side of the road. We're right by the, we're not too far from Riggs Road. We're again about I'd say a mile or two north of the 10 on Arizona Avenue. And so you can see that flooding kind of getting underway here. Now, luckily, we're down here, as you can see, where we pulled over pretty far into the side of the road to stay safe from the dust storm and the rain. But if you are in an area that floods like this near your home, or if there's an area in your neighborhood that is like this, just be aware that it has been starting to kind of get a little bit more flooded in this area.
Yeah, the flooding certainly is going to be a concern there, and obviously it was dangerous for a time for drivers on the road as you saw that huge dust cloud moving across the valley here. Another look again tonight at downtown Phoenix where things are starting to improve. For more, let's bring in KTVU's chief meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking those storms that hit Arizona tonight. That was really an impressive dust cloud that we saw. There were some really severe conditions, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. That cloud going up to roughly around 4,000 feet or so. And can you imagine 1 hour you have winds of maybe around 5 to 9 miles an hour, and the next hour you have winds gusting to 70 miles an hour. That was all linked up with these strong thunderstorms linked up with that monsoonal flow. And what's happening, you get these thunderstorms out there, you get these strong outflow winds. We talked about the strong winds over gusting to 70 miles an hour. That carries all that dust out there and creates that gigantic cloud. Now, in terms of the radar coverage, as you can see over the past few hours, you can see the rain showers developing, the thunderstorms developing, and that basically covering the Phoenix area, producing the heavy rainfall and the strong winds. Earlier, the peak wind event with this out toward the Phoenix Sky Harbor, winds gusting, you can see to 70 miles an hour. That was actually an observed report during that time with those storms moving on through. And the visibility is really coming down. These are the low visibility reports scattered around the region, and they had visibilities down to maybe 20 feet or so at the worst case scenario. This was Phoenix earlier today, picking up on all that cloud cover. Of course, the thunderstorm activity and the low visibilities. They still had temperature of 103 degrees earlier this afternoon before those storms developed. So this will continue to keep an eye on those storms developing out toward the desert southwest and also out toward parts of Arizona and into New Mexico. But in the Bay Area, looks like a stable weather pattern out there with temperatures in the 60s, low clouds and fog. And then up in Seattle, has been hot. They have excessive heat warnings in place, and temperatures, look at that, 91 degrees in Seattle this afternoon. You can see some of the highs from today, and there you go out toward Palm Springs, 103 degrees. San Francisco in the 60s. Portland, Oregon, still warm to hot, upper 80s. So heat is encompassing a good portion of the West Coast. Also talking about that monsoonal flow feeding all these showers and thunderstorms showing up on the map for the satellite and the radar. Right now, as you can see, look at that, Phoenix. It is only 79 degrees in Phoenix with those clouds in place, those storms moving on through. San Francisco, 65. It's much warmer in Portland and Seattle right now. Temperatures around 85 to 87 degrees. So here is the forecast model tomorrow. It's picking up on some of the low clouds near the California coastline. Another round of showers and thunderstorms possible out toward the Sierra Nevada, parts of Utah into Colorado, and maybe some showers moving into southern Oregon for your Tuesday forecast. So here's the breakdown over the next 3 days. Another warm day in Seattle, San Francisco back up into the 60s, Los Angeles back up into the 80s, and then we're tracking those showers and thunderstorms possibly out toward the Phoenix area once again for tomorrow, and also out toward Denver. But once again, amazing images, amazing, Alex, how things could quickly change and develop just within a matter of a few minutes.
I know this fire is probably going to be going for a couple more days.
Tonight, wildfires continue to challenge first responders all across the West. One of those fires in Oregon has now destroyed 10 buildings, including 4 homes. What's being called the Flat Fire started on Thursday northwest of Bend. It's burned nearly 22,000 acres, being fueled by strong wind gusts in the area. Those who have not evacuated yet are doing what they can to prepare.
On the highest peak there are 2 really powerful sprinklers. They put out so much water, and they're hooked up to the same hose. So all I have to do if I see embers flying is walk out and turn on this hose bib right here. But it literally puts out, it soaks the roof, and then it soaks about a 3 to 5 foot perimeter around the house as well.
Now, first responders have a camp that's set up just outside the fire zone. They say a shift in weather conditions is what they need to make more progress fighting the flames.
This fire really picked up and challenged us a little bit. We threw everything at it. They were able overnight to really put in a lot of work with bulldozers and some hand crews, and put some line along the south side of the fire. Today, during the day, we're working hard on strengthening that line and hoping that, it will hold if we get another wind event like yesterday.
And tonight, this fire is 5% contained, with the cause still being investigated. Well, more than 2,000 firefighters are working tonight to try to slow the spread of the picket fire in Northern California's wine country. As Fox's Jonathan Hunt explains, firefighters are making progress, with containment now up to 15%.
I know this fire is probably going to be going for a couple more days.
And in California's wine country, more than 1,200 firefighters, along with air tankers and helicopters, are on the front lines of the picket fire. It's destroyed nearly 7,000 acres in Napa County. CAL FIRE says over the weekend, hundreds of people were placed under evacuation orders or warnings. Some of those were lifted Sunday night when a break in the heat allowed crews to extend containment lines.
We did a defensive firing mechanism last night, which means we put fire on the ground to remove some fuels that help secure our perimeter.
But the threat isn't over. Officials warn that flames are burning in deep and rugged terrain, making it difficult for ground crews to reach the flames.
The terrain is super difficult, super rugged, and very inaccessible for all the ground resources, so we're trying to be very aggressive with all the aircraft supporting the fire to keep it in check.
Today, Governor Gavin Newsom pre-deployed additional fire equipment to Northern California ahead of more heat and low humidity. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Today, rapper and singer Lil Nas X pleaded not guilty to attacking police officers in Los Angeles as they confronted him for walking naked down a street. The artist, whose real name is Montero Lamar Hill, appeared in court for the first time today. He's facing 4 felony charges, 3 counts of battery with injury on an officer and 1 of resisting an officer. Police say Lil Nas X charged at officers as they stopped him for walking naked along Ventura Boulevard early Friday morning. After he was arrested, police took him to the hospital suspecting a possible drug overdose. I talked earlier with TMZ's Michael Babcock, and TMZ was the first to report these charges.
Thought it was notable in court. His attorney, Alex, said look, I don't know that there were any drugs that were even involved here. And I think that's what a lot of people have went to, said, okay, he is seemingly on some sort of substance here that altered his mind and made him act like this. But his attorneys seem to be saying, no, that's not the case.
Lil Nas X is best known for his massive 2018 hit Old Town Road. The country hip-hop crossover track spent a record 19 weeks at #1 on the Billboard charts. Now, after spending 3 days in jail, tonight he has been released on $75,000 bail. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, DEA agents say a drug bust in the Pacific Northwest took nearly 7 million lethal doses of fentanyl off the streets. Coming up, how this international investigation got started years ago. Plus, it's no video game. See how virtual reality helps some college students in the classroom. The Utah National Guard is seeking volunteers for a federal mission supporting Homeland Security and ICE starting around September 15th. Troops would help with transportation and logistics while remaining under state control. The operation is part of a national immigration crackdown and could run through mid-November. Utah's governor says troops can assist but will not make arrests, and the mission must be federally funded. An undercover operation that began with DEA agents buying drugs from dealers in Washington has turned into an international investigation. As Fox 13's Nia Wong reports tonight, more than a dozen people have now been indicted in a major drug bust.
You're looking at a fraction of the hundreds of pounds of methamphetamine seized by the Drug Enforcement Administration and partnering agencies.
This could have killed every person in every community in the Puget Sound region.
Investigators say this ring distributed deadly drugs up the West Coast to Washington.
Some of these shipments were so large they were brought here in semi-trucks.
Allegedly, under the orders of the Camargo Banuelos brothers all the way down in Mexico.
Both these men directed this group that dealt death and despair in our community.
Special agent in charge Dave Reams with the DEA believes the brothers are connected to the Sinaloa cartel, a transnational crime syndicate that has now been designated as a foreign terrorist organization.
They're one of the most dangerous threats on the planet to the health and safety of our communities.
While the Camargo Banuelos brothers are still believed to be at their base in Sinaloa, the DEA says help from the DOJ, HSI, and the Mexican government have led to the arrest of 13 people.
So this is a very significant bust, a very significant operation for the Pacific Northwest.
Reams says their investigation started 2 years ago with undercover agents buying drugs in Tacoma to their most recent bust in early August, which stretched across 11 different locations in the Seattle area, not only seizing drugs, but guns and $650,000.
Drugs and guns go together, and this group had an arsenal at their disposal.
The 37-count indictment includes drug dealers and a truck driver from Snohomish County, King County, and Mexico. While more than a dozen are in custody, 6 remain on the run, and the DEA says this investigation is ongoing.
The Sinaloa cartel peddles this poison for one reason: to make money. In this case, we hit them where it hurt.
In Seattle, Nia Wong, Fox 13 News.
Tonight, the FBI is helping to investigate a statewide network outage in Nevada that's affecting many public services, including the Highway Patrol and the DMV. The governor's office described the outage as a network security incident. They say that no personal information was compromised here, but a number of state websites and phone lines were down starting yesterday. Dispatch lines were affected for the Highway Patrol and the Nevada State Police, and all Nevada DMV locations were closed today because of this outage. We turn now to an update on the ongoing search for a Washington man suspected of killing his 3 daughters. And today, FBI agents closed off several campgrounds in the area where the girls' bodies were found. As Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman reports tonight, those campgrounds will remain closed through at least tomorrow.
Many were anticipating an end to this tragedy as officials gathered to update the community on Travis Decker, the man accused of picking up his 3 daughters and killing them at a campground just up the road from here. Now, right now, FBI officials are leading what they call is a good old-fashioned police investigation at a campground. Now, they've closed several campgrounds surrounding Rock Island where the bodies of Olivia, Peyton, and Evelyn were found at the end of May. Officials say they have nearly 100 skilled and specialty teams conducting a 2-day search of a quarter-mile radius around the campground. I was here the day the little girls were found, and since then, we've heard and seen just how dense and remote the area is. Sheriff Mike Morrison says no matter what, he and his team are dedicated to finding Decker.
I've said it before, I don't believe he's special in any way. He was part of the military. I appreciate his service. Right now, he's a criminal at large. He's wanted for murder and kidnapping. We have other individuals on the ground that are more trained, our instructors in this field, are actual survivalists, and I feel like we have the right members on our team, and he's got a lot of people hunting against him. I've said it before, he's got to be perfect every single day. We just have to be perfect once, and if he is still alive, I got to imagine he's pretty tired by now. But we understand the likelihood that there could be a potential that he is deceased, but until we find him, alive or dead, we're going to continue to search.
Again, there is no evidence that Decker is dead or alive, but based on previous cases, officials say they can never be too thorough. The entire community has been shaken by the loss of these little girls. That's what keeps them motivated to keep searching for the wanted father. Labor Day is right around the corner, and officials say that they're in no rush to get their search done. In fact, they did say that no matter what, even with the holiday just around the corner, they're considering expanding the area if they do find anything that may lead them to Travis Decker. Now, right now, though, their focus is on having these resources and searching every square inch of this area side by side with, again, these skilled and trained specialized teams that are actually on the ground right now. In Leavenworth, Alejandra Guzman, Fox 13 News.
A legal challenge to California Governor Gavin Newsom's congressional redistricting plan could be heading to the state Supreme Court. The Dillon Law Group and California Republican leaders announced today a new legal challenge over the November ballot measure to redraw district lines to favor Democrats. They say state legislative leaders violated several provisions of the state constitution, including a 30-day review of bills and the right to independent redistricting. The state Supreme Court rejected an effort by Republicans last week to try to stop the redistricting effort just before it passed the legislature. And money for the yes and no campaigns for this measure, which is now known as Proposition 50, is already pouring in. The campaigns will be targeting the roughly 20% of voters that polling suggests are still undecided. Sonoma State University political science professor David McEwen says a lot will ride on Governor Newsom's ability to raise a lot of money to counter the Republican opposition, which possibly could include former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Going to be a lot of pressure on Newsom and Democrats to put up to do this, and in a national effort. That means you're going to have Nancy Pelosi's Rolodex, you're going to have Hakeem Jeffries' Rolodex, not that people know what a Rolodex is, but you're going to have that kind of component, and that will raise money. It is a risky strategy, because if you're a blue state governor who can't deliver a blue vote, it's a problem.
Professor McEwen says he expects to see as much as $500 million spent on both sides between now and November. Well, Utah farmers say they're making changes due to shifts in summer weather patterns. As Fox 13's Nate Larson explains tonight, this could affect when you find some fruits in stores.
Local fruit stands are a staple along this stretch of Highway 89 between Willard and Perry. Farmers this year tell us that hotter temperatures over summer and a mild winter have impacted their crops.
It's been hot, so we're about 10 days ahead of schedule from last year. And so what that does is that it just makes the fruit come on a lot quicker.
Our mild winter along the Wasatch Front, followed by a hot start to summer, has made most crops grow faster.
We were right at the 4th of July. We had peaches, and it's usually the 10th to the 15th that we'll start any of the early peaches.
Our earlier variety peaches, we picked a lot earlier than we had peaches before July 24th, which was very unique.
The farmers say that hot summer days and warm nights stress out the fruit trees.
The heat really stresses out the tree. And so if it's really hot during the night, all the sugar that it produced during that day then uses up.
Farmers have had to increase watering and pick earlier to avoid losing crop.
Yeah, you'll get overripe and then you haven't got anything. You have to be in front of them when you're picking them.
In a typical growing season, peaches are still being picked in mid-October.
There are our O. Henry, it's our last variety. That usually lasts until mid-October. And so some people will come end of September and it's just too late.
Maybe it'll stretch out and some of them will hang on, but We generally have peaches till October.
To picking season, farmers tell me they'll still have plenty of peaches to go around for the famous Peach Days, which happen the first weekend in September. Nate Larson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It's because each one's a new story.
Virtual reality makes its way into college classrooms here in the West. Tonight, see how students are thriving with the help of this high-tech tool. Also, an unusual chance to simulate what it's like to be captain of a ship. How one museum in Southern California is giving people that opportunity. For college students, wearing virtual reality headsets could soon become a regular part of class. Fox's Deborah Valentine shows us how the tool is helping Arizona State University students to learn.
What is this showing us?
With so much information to absorb during a new school year, the race is on to try and help make learning more immersive. And engines keep kicking into gear at Arizona State University, where the school has been partnering with the company Dreamscape Learn.
Dreamscape Learn is an immersive narrative approach to learning. And we combine cutting-edge technology and virtual reality with cutting-edge pedagogy outside of VR.
The initiative is available across some subjects at ASU, like biology. It combines virtual reality sessions with in-depth labs where students are exposed to engaging stories and then are faced with problems from their virtual world that they need to solve.
So when we build these VR experiences, they have 3 acts, just like stories and movies have 3 acts. Students go in and discover a problem, a novel problem they care about solving, they can't just go look up the answer to. But then they come out of VR and for 3 hours, everything they're doing is serves as solving that problem. They analyze data, they come up with hypotheses, and make quantitative predictions.
After attracting responses from more than 4,000 students over 2 years, ASU officials say the feedback is through the roof.
They rated all the experiences on 5 out of 5 on average across the board. They actually rated the last experiences higher than the first. It's because each one's a new story.
And all the engagement is even yielding higher grades.
Students within the Dreamscape Learn were 1.7 times as likely to earn an A letter grade in the lab as their traditional counterparts. And that represents about a 9 percentage point improvement, so almost a full letter grade.
Deborah Valentine, Fox News.
Well, finally tonight, a new attraction in Santa Barbara, California is giving visitors the chance to step into the shoes of a ship's captain. The Santa Barbara Maritime Museum launched a high-tech simulator. It lets visitors steer a vessel through changing ocean conditions. Organizers say it combines history with hands-on adventure, making it both educational and fun. Many visitors call it a one-of-a-kind experience they cannot find anywhere else.
Well, there's nothing that's as interactive as that in here. You know, a lot of it's just reading prompts, but that you actually get to experience being a boat captain. I think it's wonderful. The technology is super cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty amazing. That simulator is drawing new crowds and could become one of the museum's most popular exhibits when it's all said and done, and you can see why. Well, that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching, as always. And a reminder, before we head off here, that you can stay up to date on all the big stories we are covering across the West at our website, westcoastwrap.com. And please don't forget to stream our shows on your smart TV by downloading the free Fox Local app. Have a great night.